Last year, when I was still doing tutorial videos on Flutterflow, before I moved on to teaching mobile app development with AI agents, I did a video about implementing payments. And I was making this joke like if you thrive under stress and you enjoy pain, then you should use RevenueCat. But we're in this era now of AI agents. And so if you're using AI agents to build your mobile app and you need a way to implement payments, then guess what? I hope you still like pain. In this video, I'm going to take you through some of the things that I have learned about implementing payments like in-app purchases and subscriptions, and hopefully this can help guide you as you build your mobile app with AI. So let's start at the beginning. Mobile apps are distributed by the Apple App Store and Google Play Store. Apple and Google like money. Google takes 15% of your revenue if you use their payment system. Apple takes 30%. So in 2020, the game developer Epic Games got sick of this and took Apple to court to challenge their monopoly over the market. And by 2025, they had won. Sort of. Okay, so Apple lost the court case, so we're free, right? Nah, that was only in the US. And the EU, they had a similar court case, but they kind of did their own thing, and so it works slightly differently. But, if you're a small business, you can apply to do 15% instead of 30% anyway. But actually, physical products were never subject to this in the first place. But hey, if you try to send users to a web page instead of using something like RevenueCat, your conversion rate can tank even if you're allowed to do it. And none of this actually matters if you can't get your app through the review process in the app stores anyway. So given this gigantic mess, you might be wondering, how does anyone actually get paid? Well, if you've done any research at all, you've probably heard of RevenueCat. It sits between your app and the app stores and handles all the painful stuff like receipts and subscriptions and refunds, and pretty much everyone is using it. That part isn't controversial. If you're aware of RevenueCat, then you're probably aware of Stripe. Stripe is a web-based payment processor, and trust me, it's easier to implement Stripe. But here's the part that nobody really seems to be talking about. Let's say your whole business isn't about having a mobile app. Maybe you have a web app as well. Or you just want to keep the option open to have a web app in the future. And maybe it's not clear whether the app stores will accept your app as is if it only has a Stripe integration. And since the court case, that is a distinct possibility, and it could save you significant hassle and money by just using Stripe. Still, depending on the specifics of your app, that might not be an option for you, and you will have to use RevenueCat. It's hard to know. So I'm going to suggest an approach that I never really see covered in tutorials. Maybe there's a reason for that, and maybe it'll be outdated in 3 weeks, but it makes sense to me. Instead of letting RevenueCat or Stripe own your entire payment system, what if you owned it yourself? Here's what I mean. You set up your own backend. And for this, I use Supabase. And that becomes a source of truth for everything. Your products, your entitlements, your paywalls, all of it lives in your own database. RevenueCat still does what it's good at, handling the App Store purchases and creating that abstraction over the App Store's APIs. But when a payment goes through, it sends a message to your backend and your database updates. And Stripe does exactly the same thing. If someone pays on your website, for example, same database, same tables, same entitlements carry through to your mobile app as well. RevenueCat can't do that. Your app, whether it's mobile or web or both, only ever asks one question. What does my database say that this user is entitled to do? That means you're not locked into RevenueCat's system. You're not locked into Stripe's system. You're not betting everything on what Apple decides to do next month. You have one setup that works regardless of how people pay or where the rules land. And you can just tweak the system if anything changes with the tech overlord's legal standing. Let me show you what this actually looks like. This isn't a follow along, I just want you to see how the pieces connect. Here's my database. I've got a table for products, that's what I'm selling. I have a paywall in my application that loads data in from this products table. And then I have a table for my subscriptions, which governs the entitlements. And so the app will know who's allowed to access what. When someone buys through the App Store, RevenueCat picks it up. and then sends my backend a webhook, which is basically a notification, and my database updates. When someone buys on the web, Stripe does the exact same thing. Different source, same destination. It also has a webhook and updates the database. That's it. That's the whole idea. One database, multiple sources, app reads from one place. Now, is this easy to set up? Nah, it's not the easiest thing in the world. But the hardest parts really are to do with RevenueCat and Stripe itself. Combining the two is not that much more difficult, and actually it gives you greater flexibility anyway. There are a lot of moving parts here, and I'm not gonna pretend that an AI agent is gonna figure all of this out for you, but once it's built, it works. And most importantly, it's yours. So here's how I would think about this if I was just starting out. I would ask myself 3 questions. 1, is my app only going to live on mobile? If yes, RevenueCat with the standard in-app purchases might be the path. It's definitely finicky to set up RevenueCat, as you have a lot of stuff to configure in the app stores themselves, but it's a widely used option, and sometimes it's going to be the only option. 2, do I want to sell on the web as well, either now or eventually? Because if yes, then you need Stripe in the picture, and you need a way to keep both systems in sync. That's where having your own backend really matters here. 3, are my users in the US, the EU? Are they somewhere else? Are they in all of these countries? Because the options are literally different depending where your users are. In the US, you can offer in-app payments and web payments side by side. In the EU, you have to pick one. Where your users are is definitely going to matter a lot here. Personally, because there's so much ambiguity, I like the idea that I can have both options, even if I only end up implementing one of them at a time. But that's not necessarily the default option. It's necessary to spend some time thinking about your specific situation, what you're selling, where you're selling it, how much you care about avoiding the App Store fees, and how much patience you have. If this video is making you more confused, sorry about that. I just finished a full course on payments inside of my private community where I take you through all of this step by step. And you can chat with me directly, and you can follow other courses for getting started with your mobile app using AI agents. Thanks so much for watching. Subscribe for more AI mobile app development tips, and I will see you in the next one.